All right, welcome back to the show, Whitlock and Wiley. Joined now by some very special guests, Tony and Lauren Dungy, authors of the new book, We Chose You. We'll talk some football in a second, but let's start with your book, Tony, Lauren. What inspired you guys to write this book?
We decided to write the book because we believe adoption is beautiful. We have 7 children at home. They're all adopted. We wanted to support other families that have adopted or are considering adoption. And there is a big need for families to kind of step up to the plate and to adopt or foster kids. So those are the main reasons why we chose to write this book.
Now, what advice would you give someone who's on the fence in terms of thinking about adoption? Candidly, I've had this conversation before,
Sure.
and I always question, would I have the same capacity to love a child that's not biologically mine? What would you say to
That's
those?
a valid question. I think you really have to investigate adoption before you jump into it. But we found that there's really no difference when you're parenting your own birth children or adopted children. It's the same.
And many people do think that same. How would it be?
Or there's a lack of connection.
Once those kids get in your house, it's no different. It really is. And there's such a need. We got started in Florida, 18 years ago. We've got a son who's a senior in high school now. And we heard about the need and how many kids were waiting to be adopted, how many kids were living in group homes, how many kids were part of the foster care system. And it touched me, for sure, and it can be done.
Tony, and I'm sorry, one more thing. In a positive way, you say there is no difference, but could there be a greater reward or something of that nature?
Well, I think for the children, they know that they were prayed for, they were planned, and they were chosen. So that should make them feel special. And we've told our children that.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. Our 18-year-old Jordan has some special needs. He was born with a medical condition, and after a couple of months, it became very obvious to us that God put it together because we had the resources at the time. We had access to the doctors. I had great insurance, and there's no way he would have thrived the way he has. He's ready to graduate from high school now, wants to be a chef, and it was just God putting him in the right place.
How early did you guys adopt him?
He was a newborn, straight out of the hospital.
Okay, that leads to my question, because I've got some people close to me that are going through this process. When do you tell a child that he's adopted? When is the right time to break that news to him?
They're never too young. So you have age-appropriate discussions. When they're little babies, you talk about it. It's just a natural thing. You're reading books, you're having conversations, and they hear that word. It's a positive thing. It's a good thing. It's not a secret. It's not something that happened that we're not going to talk about. And we've talked to our children from the time that they were, small toddlers, and they know they're adopted, they know they're loved, they're special, and they're in their forever home.
God brought you to us in a different way. That's all.
Yeah, to your point, my wife is adopted.
Is she really? Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she says she talked about it her entire childhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I should have been asking you. Lauren, I want to apologize. I got Tony here.
That's all right.
All-time great football coach. We got to talk a little football. Tony, rumors that Peyton Manning could be running the New York Jets. We've heard from Reggie Wayne, who thinks that wouldn't be a good fit for Peyton to be the executive. He wouldn't want to be fired by an owner. Do you think Peyton Manning would make a good football executive?
I think he'd make an excellent football executive. I don't think he's going to do it, just from my standpoint, because he knows he would jump into it 1,000 miles an hour, 24/7. I don't know if he's ready for that. But if he does choose to do it, he'll be fantastic. He knows how to win. He knows how to be a good teammate. He knows how to build.
Now, I mean, that seems like the million-dollar question. What is Peyton Manning's next move? Multi-million-dollar question. Broadcaster, we see him turn down those opportunities. Now executive roles shine away. Do you have any thoughts about that?
He's got 2 young children. And I think if that wasn't the case, I could see him being a GM right now. But with the kids, I think he's got just a little hesitancy. If I get into this and I'm in that office all the time, I'm right back to my football career. Even more so, because I'm not just getting myself ready now, but I'm preparing a whole team. So I think that would be his hesitancy. I'm not sure which way he's going to go, but he's a talented guy, and he would be very good at it.
Tony, have you followed the Kareem Hunt transition to the Cleveland Browns? And maybe you're involved. Maybe they've asked for your insight or advice. But I saw where Kareem has given his life to Christ, gotten baptized, and the Browns, Freddie Kitchens, had to come out and basically explain. They went and supported him. Some people skeptical. It's jailhouse religion or whatever, and I'm like, no. And it's just a gesture. No, this is not a gesture. This is something that can change this young man's life.
It really can, and we're always skeptical. We don't want to give people second chances. I don't know Kareem Hunt, but you've got to take a man at his word. You've got to believe that. People, that's all everybody hit me with Michael Vick. Oh, it's just, this is just to get back in the NFL. And I sat with Mike Vick in Leavenworth Prison, and I looked in his eyes, and I knew, I could sense when he told me, the Lord was in my life. I got to the top of my profession. I forgot about the Lord, and I made a big mistake. And I told Andy Reid, I said, no, this young man is serious. You can count on him.
Kareem Hunt, the Browns took a little heat because the organization went to his baptism. I'm sure you think that's the right thing for the team to do.
It absolutely is. And that baptism was not a football event. That was a life event. And so as someone who's interested in his life, they went and supported him. And that is the right thing to do, and I don't think you should have to explain that.
All right, Tony, still a lot of conversation about black NFL head coaches. There's only 3 right now. I'm someone that has pointed to the Tony Dungy tree, all the coaches that you created off your tree, black coaches. And I've looked at Mike Tomlin and have questioned there is no tree here. And I'm wondering if is there something we should be doing or pressuring the NFL to do beyond the Rooney Rule to help alleviate this problem?
Well, the simple reason is if you look at my tree, it was all defensive coaches. Okay? And now we don't like defensive coaches. We're all enamored with offense and quarterback coaches and scoring. It's like we forgot that Bill Belichick was a defensive coach. He's pretty good. Pete Carroll was a defensive coach. He's won some Super Bowls. Mike Tomlin has won some Super Bowls. But no, we want the scoring machine and the young guns. I think our owners have to understand that head coaching is about leadership. It's not necessarily just being able to coach the quarterback.
Any revisions to the Rooney Rule? Do you think it has executed properly, or how do you edit it?
The Rooney Rule is about a spirit, okay? And Dan Rooney's idea was you take your time, you investigate everything, and you look at all the candidates. If you honestly do that, you'll get some good coaches, and you'll get some minority coaches. But if you just want to check the box and say, I'm filling out the Rooney Rule, I've already made up my mind, I don't care what I see, I'm going to hire the person I wanted to hire anyway, then you can't legislate that. So you've got to follow the spirit of the Rooney Rule if you want results. And I don't think we're following the spirit of it now.